Croeso to Wrexham News. I'm Councillor Carrie Harper.
And I'm Councillor Marc Jones from the Grosvenor Ward.
And I'm Liam Stokes-Massey, a local artist and muralist.
So you're part of a team of artists who are responsible for the murals around the town centre, which no doubt lots of people have seen and are curious about. Can you tell us a bit about the art trail project and the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so it is a public art trail. It started off as a mural trail, but because there's so many existing pieces of public art, like sculptures and stuff like that, they decided to expand it so we could include everything, really. So it was originally started by the council, but I think it's been taken over now by the City of Culture, that is. Funded. The first phase was funded by the Shared Prosperity Fund money, and we're nearly finishing the first phase. So we've done 6 murals. I'm currently working on finishing the 6th and final one.
The biggest one?
The biggest one.
Yeah. Do you want to talk us through that one?
Yeah, so it's a tribute to Wrexham's industrial history. So, you think of things like the ironworks, steelworks, mining, brewing, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for the brick industry. So the idea is that the ramp is going to look, it's painted in red, like terracotta reddish, but it's going to feature tributes to those mentioned industries, but then make it look as if it's kind of made out of terracotta. Okay. So there's a few bits from around the town that people might recognise if they've got eagle eyes.
Yeah.
But the trouble with it is, A, it's massive. B, it's very detailed. So I'm going to be there for
a while by the time.
Well, I think I'm probably about 2 weeks in. I think I'm in my 3rd week now. I'm going on holiday on Saturday.
Oh.
So I know. So I kind of thought, set that as a target, have it done for Saturday, chalk it off. But I didn't think that's going to happen realistically. Okay. So, but it's okay. It's worth it. It'll be, I hope a real kind of
finale.
I think because where Christine's Cafe is.
Yeah.
So you go through the alleyway there onto the car park, and I think if you kind of come into that car park and look at it, I think my idea was it will look 3D, it will look like it's actually got depth to it.
Yeah. So somebody described it as a dragon's tail or something.
Yeah, that was clever.
Which I thought
I'd not thought of that either.
It does
kind of
curve. Quite elegantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, the curve's lovely. At the bottom, I've got the cock design shape. So I think that looks like spines at the bottom of the tail. Okay. So I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because I thought it was a really good. Or we could have.
Can use it.
Yeah. A bit too late now, unfortunately. Paid over to start again. So
that's number 5 there. Number 6, sorry. Yes. So there's 5 of those. Can you talk us through those and the artists behind them and the inspiration for those as well?
So the inspiration for the whole trail is basically just Wrexham's history, culture, and heritage. So, we put out an expression of interest back in August, I think it was last year, or July, and basically asking for people to put forward concept design, concept ideas, what you'd like to paint if you could. And then, we put the submissions to a panel, and the panel decided on whatnot. So so first off was Edgerton Street, so on the Eval building, again, absolutely stunning. Yeah. So it's a really cool story actually. So I don't know if you know Murals, the company who did it, but they're a nationwide company, done some of the best work probably in the country. Oh, yeah. So if you go to Anfield, there's murals all on the the gable ends of terraced houses around there. They're responsible for most of them. Jan Mulby, former Liverpool player, they'd just done a mural of him, and Jan Mulby's wife somehow had seen our expression, there's the post for expression of interest, and forwarded it on to them, so it wouldn't have happened without Jan Mulby, Jan Mulby's wife. Yeah. So they were great. Obviously, dead professional. Interesting story about the miner on it. So Marc Silver, who's the guy who runs murals, he basically just went on a Google search. We kind of told him what we were looking for.
Right.
I think they had ideas to kind of do something Ryan and Rob related or Deadpool related, and we were just like, that would be great, but you know, if we try and keep it a bit more like Wrexham centric or history centric.
Yeah.
So anyway, he went on a Google search, found like a picture of a miner, and he thought it was probably an American miner. Just like, I don't know, you know, if you Google miners from around, like, I think it's like the 40s or the 50s, they look like really similar to the guy in the photo. But so Josh, who was the artist actually spraying who actually did the work, he was working one day, a student came up and said like, that's my granddad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's like, I couldn't believe it. I had to go and check, but that's my granddad. And her granddad was like a miner in Shropshire way. Yeah, so we should really kind of like try and track her down. Because I think she kind of came and left.
What
and
a
that was
story
it.
that is.
Yeah, how random is that? Absolutely random. So she's in Cllr, Cambria, I imagine.
Can we put a shout out?
Yeah.
To find out who this is, don't we?
It could be when you say Shropshire, it could be the Black Park, Hodgson way, because there were lots of mines that down that way. We did the North First Coalfield.
Yeah.
Oh,
fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So it was just like, that whole kind of mural, for me personally, that was like probably kind of not the one I was most proud of, just because of the quality of it to begin with.
It is brilliant.
You know, to have something like that in Wrexham.
it was important. I thought personally it was really important, you know, to get this off the ground with a state.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a statement, wasn't it? And it wasn't just the subject, which was important. I think it's kind of what Wrexham was built on, but it was the quality.
Yeah.
You know, you've done quality murals as well, but there was something about that.
It's quite intense, isn't it?
It's intense.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like like at the moment I'm fully well aware that I could not create something as kind of.
I'm sure you could.
No,
I'm sure you could.
For that level of realism. Obviously, Josh has been, you know, a spray a can guy for donkey's years, so he's got that down.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of skill that's required to know exactly, because I've had a go with a spray can, and it's like a whole different kettle of fish.
Tell me something. Has that changed the way you do murals?
It did a little bit, not actually doing the murals, but the prep. So I remember, like, because I had to paint the wall black.
Yeah.
At a vow, like in preparation for Josh to come and do the work. And then I think the first day Josh was there, he just did what's called a doodle grid.
With the numbers?
With the numbers and the letters, and, you know, people are like, what on earth is going on here? It's like some kind of wizardry or sorcery or something. So I obviously got talking to Josh, and he explained how it works and stuff, and I used that same method for the Eagles Meadow one, the Fearless and Devotion one, and it works a treat. Like when I did the Paul Mullin one on the Fat Boy, I think I spent a day like gridding up, like making sure all my lines were like properly straight and accurate. That took 20 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes on a scissor lift, just like straight down.
Because the Paul Mullin ones, sorry to go back to that, that was the first mural in Wrexham.
It was somewhere O'Heed, wasn't it?
So we painted, so that was the first one, and then obviously after Wrexham got promoted, Rich Watkin, who you know, the owner of the Fat Boy.
It's still be a temporary mural, isn't it?
Which one? Oh yeah, of course.
All of them, only temporary.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. So that kind of kick-started it all.
But it was a game changer, I think, in terms of making those kind of murals a sort of, do you know what? It brightens up the town. It gives you a bit of history. I mean, the Mohivo was specifically about Wales being in the World Cup, isn't it? You know, the army is massive.
It's a talking point as well, because we took David Ewan down to see the mural, which was fantastic. Just having both of them in the middle of Wrexham was just great.
And it's it becomes that kind of Instagram moment.
Exactly.
Well, we kind of moan about that, perhaps. It means this is what people take away with it. It becomes a very visual representation of the town, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that was kind of like the whole intent, really, is to, first and foremost, is to kind of like, I guess, not brighten the place up a bit, but create spaces that are points of interest that reflect, like the town or the city, and then you kind of with this mural trail, the public art trail, you got the opportunity to educate both locals and tourists alike. So you've got that added angle to it as well. But yeah, it's been great so far. Who was after that? So
I don't want to miss anybody out, because there are more out there.
So there's a tour of colour supplies, isn't it?
Yeah, so they were the next ones. Yeah, so
This is three mocks.
yeah, so Rachel West, she created the market traders. So Rachel is local artist who grew up around the People's Market before it became obviously Tea Pub. So she, day in, day out, she was surrounded by market traders. She knew them all. So she thought it was like a fitting kind of tribute to the obviously the industry that was probably not so prevalent anymore, obviously, like most small cities. And so so that was the beauty of it. That was the beauty of it, is that you'd walk past, you'd probably spot people that you might recognize. She's also included like little Easter eggs that you can spot from around town. There's like one of them is like, you go into the People's Market on I think it's in the arcade. Not sure if it's actually in the like food court market itself. But on the floor there's like nice little coloured tiles, and she's put that exact pattern hidden somewhere in there. And she's like little stuff like that. That's like really like a nice touch. But bless her, she did such an amazing job, and as well actually, because the weather
in the winter, wasn't it? It was terrible.
Depth of winter, awful, freezing cold, wet some days. Proper troopers. Really.
But the frieze was very distinctive, and she's got a very distinctive style. Play.
That's it. Play, and I think culture in general is lots of like little nods to the music scene and gaming, and it's really cool. I think that one in particular is so striking when you come around that bend and it's kind of just there on the corner. So colourful and really cool. And then Ree's partner Liam Higgins, he created one for the side of Nightingale House, the jewellery shop, on wooden panel that we kind of like fitted into the recesses. So that's kind of like a nod to like the diversity in the town, and there's a couple of little nods to like landmarks as well. So there's those four. The fifth one was David Kynaston. So David Kynaston is a traditional sign writer based in Llangollen. Turns out he's one of the finest in the world. Which was we
don't know these things, do we?
No. It's so David's mural is a tribute to an old Wrexham company called Powell Brothers, who started out as an agricultural machinery company, I believe, and quickly became one of the biggest around. So their factory was back at the train station. I think maybe one of the buildings is still there, like one of the small ones.
And rails.
So he wanted to pay tribute to that. Later on in the life of the business, I don't think it lasted much longer than 50 years from memory, but they went into making motorbikes, trials bikes as well. So on the mural is one of the best known trials bike riders of the 20s and 30s, I think, called Marjorie Cottle.
Where is this one?
So it's in the South Arcade in Sea Power. So where the visitor information centre is, if you go through the double doors and just look up to your right, you can't miss it. It's absolutely massive.
Maybe that needs a bit more publicity then, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where that one was. So I'll
it's-
definitely be taking a look now. It's coming
great.
down there.
It's great. Like David asked, because David's more of a traditional sign writer and lettering, he asked if I would paint Marjorie Cottle on the bike, so I've painted that for him. But yeah, and so it turns out as well, obviously the museum have Powell's motorbike in the archives. So I think they're possibly, I'm sure there was talks of maybe refurbishing it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of work, I think.
Yeah, I think what's been good about this though is, the easy option, the obvious option would have been, let's flood it with football.
Yeah.
And although you've done your football stuff, Eagles Meadow, you've done Fflint Wrecsam Legends, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is also brilliant. We've kind of gone back to looking at our own history and heritage, and I think that's been really important, just to remind people
Yeah.
of some hidden history, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like particularly with Powell's, like because David's done a lot of research into the history of the company, and like he was kind of just explaining to me like his inspiration for it, and it was just fascinating. Like they had the ladies football team, they were massive in the war effort.
Yeah.
And there's not really, you would never know that there's nothing really.
Ian was part of that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised when you said the leading trails.
Trials,
But there was a woman.
Yeah.
Because during the war, post-war, they had an opportunity that they hadn't had before, really.
Yeah. It's great, and it's like such really rich knowledge that's kind of not celebrated enough, or
And this
could
draws
be
attention to it.
Yeah. And then finally there's the one I'm doing, so that's the 6. And I think it's not been confirmed yet, but I think so a bid is going in to get more money to do some more. So there's a few good spots in town that I've got my eye on that we'll try and secure.
We haven't exhausted them all. Right?
No, I think there's so I mean we might be able to do the same again, so another 6, all by different artists. So I think this time we probably have got a bit more time to play with, so that opens up the possibility of going down the planning permission route. So there's a few that might be listed buildings, but it was always my impression that like if it's listed, it's a no-go. But apparently there's if you follow the correct procedure, and there's potentially ways around that. So
I think if you're in Halsey building,
yeah.
So if people have got spots as well that they want to let you know about, that they're right to look at, it'll be useful then.
Yeah, I wonder if so I know with the SPF funding, there was like stipulation that it had to be spent within a certain area. So I think it extended probably as far as maybe Crispin Lane, and then into town then. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether, because I think we're going to a different pot this time, maybe from Welsh Government. So
it might be wider.
It might be wider. Yeah, it might be wider. But there's enough in town. I know that there's enough.
Yeah.
To
keep you going.
Yeah, there's some like pretty good ones. There's one like Lou, my wife, spotted. I probably walked past 100 times like the last year, and never even thought of it. It's
Do you find yourself now walking through South going, oh, have you?
That's been for the last year and a half probably, just like,
We've been talking about this for a while, haven't we?
Yeah.
Group of people who, when this is just an idea, pie in the sky, no idea. And council gets hamlet on a lot of things, but I'll give it credit for this because it did actually run with it. Absolutely. You know, having had the idea, it wasn't just so opaque that, you know, oh, it's too problematic. It did actually run with it, give you free rein.
Yeah, but those
so hopefully the next 6 will continue to add to it.
Yeah, that's the plan. I know. I think this time, because I think the City of Culture, they've kind of separated, I think, from the council in a way. Yeah. So I think, you know, they will probably find it easier to maybe, you know, do certain things, and they won't have to go through the same amount of
red tape.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah, I think that's
so, and you know, when it comes to like paying for things as well, like, you know, that's going to be a lot easier because we don't have to go through the whole, you know, council like PO system and stuff to set people up on there.
I see.
So yeah, so it's exciting. Fingers crossed. Like, you know, if it gets approved, futures.
Yeah, and I think it's part of that whole buzz about Wrexham now.
Yeah,
you know that, and again, you know, football didn't start 4 years ago. Football's been here for a century and a half, but it's just added a little bit of a gloss and a pride.
Yeah,
we keep talking about this pride thing. It's when people come here and say, "Well, this is not a bad place," you know, or you go, "No, it's not. It's not a bad place." And
exactly.
You know, you're not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but it just strikes me this has done so much to transform that attitude.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely contributed. I think it'll probably be more so now. I think once the launch happens, so there's a website that's ready to go with like information about each piece and each artist. There's I think physical map coming and a digital map where people can just, you know, download onto their phones and follow it. So now that's kind of up and running or thereabouts. I think it'll become more of a fixture. Do you know what I mean? So like people who are visiting the town, especially, like, you know, they know that there is a trail they can follow, see a bit more of the town that they wouldn't normally see, learn a little bit along the way. It's because I think that's like, to my mind, that was one of the main benefits of doing something like this, is because obviously there's, you know, the uptick in tourism over the last 5 years has been immense, and if we can capitalise on that.
Hopefully it's in place by August for the Eisteddfod as well, because we will be the centre of Wales for that week. When everybody's visiting.
Exactly. So, you know, if you can kind of, because I when I did a mural at the turf of Phil Parkinson, and I remember having a chat with Wayne Jones, who's the landlord there, and he was saying like, he said, it's mentally, you know, we'd probably get like 80 tourists a day, like from the States. I'm like, yeah, it's probably an exaggeration, but okay. And I was there for a week and a half, and it was probably an under exaggeration. It was absolutely wonderful. Wow. Like, but so people would get there, they you know, on the bus or whatever, go to the turf, have a walk around the ground, and then, you know, more often than not, they'd get back on the bus and they would, you know, head off. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of like, if this is a good way to
bring people into town,
bring people in, you know, say, have you seen what's in town? You know, follow this. You can't really get lost, and so I think that'll be.
Well, it gives it a structure, I suppose, doesn't it? Rather than, you know, wander around the pubs or whatever else. This is another option.
You could do both.
You could, of course. Mural crawl.
Instead of a public art walk.
Interestingly as well, I think the club are doing something similar, like a walking tour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think so. I think it's Rob McElhenney's company, more better, I think, who are running it. So they done the same kind of similar thing, with the hope of attracting people into town. So they're like just points of interest. There's a couple of the murals on there, I think, but then there's lots of other kind of historical things on there too.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some plaques around town, isn't there? future football related. You know, in terms of where the Welsh FA was formed and that sort of thing. So yeah,
so it's all happening.
I think what's good about it is it's uniquely Wrexham. This isn't generic stuff, is it?
No.
That's what's really nice, is seeing that history and culture reflected in sort of modernising the town centre, if you like. It's quite special in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really
And do you get a lot of feedback while you're painting?
yeah. This one's been really good actually. Like it's a lot of people, and you know, a lot of the older generation, shall we say, have been really responsive to it, which has not surprised me, but it's just nice because I think it's probably maybe the subject. Because there's lots of like you know, industrial stuff and but yeah, it's been really positive. I don't think I've had so far anyway, touch wood, no negative comments to my face anyway.
And it's interesting, none of it has been vandalised. No, I mean, obviously the Chester fans did the one at the Lane, but that was a specific Chester fan strike. And again, what was lovely was you had, you know, Cllr supplies and, you know, offer to repaint it, and just that whole thing was like, no, this is ours. You know, you go vandalise our artwork.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good sort of way of seeing how the community's embraced the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
It's really been a community project, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like it's, you know, they've been up now for over the course of the last 6 months or 7 months for this trail, and then obviously the Paul Mullin one's been up for coming up to 2 years, and you know, not a peep. None of them have been touched. So whether it's just that people just
They're
have
just
that
taking
respect,
selfies, aren't they? When you see it
exactly.
walk down there, that's what people are
Exactly.
doing.
You know, and then you know that, like, you know, should the worst ever
You can
happen. Well, I'm sure, like, you know what, as well, I will give it like a big shout out to Cllr Supplies, because for the mural trail, they've been like instrumental. They've given us they've been really supportive, and they've given us a good deal on the materials as well throughout. So they've been absolutely fantastic. So you know that if anyone did do something, they'd be there first thing. Just be like, right, we'll match it and we'll cover it up. Yeah. And I probably should give another shout out as well to Travis Perkins, because they sorted me out with the scaffold tower. For nothing.
This podcast has never been sponsored by anyone.
No,
Hat tip to Cllr Supply and
to be fair, yeah. And of course, it's not just, you don't just do murals, as an artist yourself, you've started way back. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think this is my 11th year. I think in August it'll be 11 years. As a full-time artist, but I just started out doing portraits for people, like pencil portraits of their pets, kids, houses, all sorts. And then just over time, I think particularly around 2016, like football just became
massive,
a bigger part of my work. And then that, with the whole, I did a print of Gareth Bale. Doing.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. It was unreal. So each print was individually painted with a Welsh badge in the heart, and then
didn't he get one?
I got one. Yeah. So a friend of my mum's who lives in Cardiff was like, right, I'll buy one. Send me an extra one down, and I'll just leave it with me, and I'll see what I can do. And it turns out he's friends with Gareth Bale's, either his mum and dad or his in-laws. So months passed, and then October, I was just at home, a message comes through from Wayne, and it's Gareth Bale, like, holding, like, he signed it, like, to Liam, like, it just means
Wales, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was yeah. So it was, stunning. So that kind of, like, kick-started the football stuff. And then obviously, with takeover and whatnot, it's just it's just kind of skyrocketed. But that's what gets me going though, like the football work. That's what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And the mural stuff, obviously. But
You put on exhibitions with the shirts. I remember
that was great, wasn't it?
years ago.
That was great.
Was that 10 years ago?
No, I think that was 2018. So we're not getting far off. But that was again like a wonderful community effort. So we're in Devian, which was an old, so it's the old JJB, and it was like an independent arts space. It was wonderful. It was like a gallery space, an event space. So there was like regular gigs there, and a massive studio community. And yeah, Dave Gray, who ran it, kind of trusted me to put on this big exhibition of football shirts and football art, and it was great. It was great. We had, Gaz Owen got in touch. Wrexham legend. It was like, yeah, you can have my shirts if you want, just to obviously like not to keep them, but you can use my shirts. So he brought a big bag of Wrexham and Wales shirts from his time. I think he played for like Wales A, I think, or Wales B, possibly, or and people were just bringing in shirts like every day, like, oh, you can use this, oh, you can use that. And then I think the exhibition had already started, and I'm chatting to somebody, and this guy comes up and stands next to me, and I can see he's got like a little plastic bag in his hand, and I'm like got one eye on that, and like chatting to someone. And then once that's finished, he's like, oh, got this for you, mate, you can use this if you want, and pulled it out. And I don't think, was it it might have been an Anderlecht shirt. It was an Adidas Wrexham one. It might have been just the like a 78 one, actually, think about it, because it had a white collar. So I think the Anderlecht was red collar, wasn't it, I think, from memory. But yeah, it was just that kind of thing where you never knew what was going to come in. And
Again, it sounds like community buying.
it really was. It really was. And then for the last day, my friend Tom, who owns Vintage Football Shirts, they did like a takeover. So Tom, like Vintage Football Shirts, I think it's probably one of the second or third biggest football shirt company in the UK, I think. And they're based in Wrexham. And he just brought like 100, but maybe not 100, like maybe 40 or 50 of his best shirts. So we took all ours down, put all of his up, and it was like,
Wow.
this is like, because it was like, to the football shirt connoisseur, there were shirts there that you'll never see again. It was unreal.
Football shirt connoisseur.
This is the thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a niche thing, but yeah,
It's not anymore. Yeah, I think we caught it just before the curb. So I'd been like collecting football shirts for probably a few years before that, and then I think maybe 2020 COVID time, I think that's when it just took off. So I think we got in there just right, I think. But yeah, that was so good. That's a good memory, that. Yeah, cheers for that.
Well, no, I perhaps people always know of you as the mural guy,
Right.
and I know of you because I got your stuff. I've got one of the dogs
yeah.
portraits from way back, and I remember the exhibition. So it's good that people know there's more to you than just painting inside the buildings.
Yeah.
But also for me, what you've done in terms of driving this forward, and I think perhaps people have got the confidence in you, whether it's the council or people in authority. You've got the confidence in you because you've got a bit of a track record. And you just want to see this build out.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just says so much about Wrexham, I think.
And if people want to see more of your work as well, they're better off searching for Pencil Craftsman. Yeah. That's your handle, isn't it, on most of your social media accounts?
That's it. I think if you search Liam Stokes-Massey, it'll probably come up as well. But yeah, Pencil Craftsman on like most platforms, I'd say. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so there's plenty more to come, and we'll follow up on that when there's more murals to come see. And diolch yn fawr iawn.
Cool. Diolch yn fawr. Nice one.